SAP HANA Academy. My name's Bob, and in this series of videos we'll be looking at SAP S4HANA. In this series of videos we'll be looking at how to use core data services. In this video of the series, what we're going to do is look at where you can get your own instance of SAP S4HANA, and also once you've instantiated it, how to create your own user within SAP S4HANA to carry out these exercises. So in building this series of videos, we're going to assume a few things. Firstly, that you have an SAP Cloud Appliance Library account and you've instantiated a solution. If you do a search in your list of solutions for S/4HANA, there's an image called SAP S4HANA On-Premise Edition Fully Activated. A couple of things about this version. Number one, this is the version I'm using for the videos. It might not be the latest version, obviously the version that you use. When you create the instance, so if I go and create an instance, you're actually creating a few machines. So if I show you, you're actually creating, if I give this a name and click on next, you're creating an SAP Business Objects BI Platform 4.1 server, an ERP 607 server on SAP HANA SPS 09, and lastly you're building a Windows client. So essentially you're building 3 separate servers. Now when you've done this, to find out all the steps on how to create the instances, how much memory you should allocate, if you move your mouse over the title, there's a getting started document. So if I open this, again, the assumption is that you followed all the steps within this document that will get you through instantiating your own instance of S4HANA. So when you log into your Windows instance, you'll essentially have 2 main tools that you're going to use. One is Eclipse, where we're going to do our development, where we're going to build our CDSs. And the other, of course, to access our ERP system is SAP Login. So a couple of notes: you should make sure that you're on the latest Eclipse version, and you should have the HANA development tools, including the ABAP perspective, updated on a regular basis. Now, when I log into Eclipse, what you'll notice is that we don't have a lot of connections created. In fact, there are no connections created to your HANA system. It's not really a problem because we're going to create a specific connection within the ABAP perspective. So this is what obviously the SAP HANA Studio looks like, and what we'll be actually using is the ABAP perspective. So of course we can get there by going to Windows, Perspective, Open Perspective, and if I go to Other, we're going to select our ABAP perspective. And this is what it looks like. Now it's a good idea to actually create a user first. So we're going to create a user in our SAP ERP system to carry out some of the tasks where we're going to be building CDSs. So if I'm going to go to my SAP logon, what we're going to do is we're going to create ourselves a new user, and we're going to give that user all rights because of course I'm connecting to a demo system. For us to cover the security in a series of videos would take a lot of videos, so we're going to give kind of godlike rights to this user, so this user can do anything in the system. So when you've used the golden image of S4HANA, the first thing you'll need to do is log in. So I'm going to log into Client 100. Why Client 100? Because we're logging into our pre-configured S4 client. That's why it's important to change that to S4. The default user is bpinst, and the password we're going to use is welcome1. That's the default password. So this is what you'll see, and again what we're going to do firstly to start off, there's a series of shortcuts. There's no reason why you can't use this user. Remember, this is a dev box, but I'm going to show you how to create a user just so we keep everything separate. So it's very straightforward. We need to run a specific command, and that command is /n to get a new window, su01. This will create us a new user. So I'll enter that command. I'm going to call this user SHA for SAP HANA Academy, and then I'll click on enter and click on create. Now when you do this, you need to give a minimum of a few rights in order to create yourself a user. So the first thing that you need, just by as a minimum right, is a surname. So I'm going to call this surname SHA. So I'm only going to show you the minimum things you need to do to create this user. You then need to go and change your default password. So I'm going to give a password. Now I would advise a generic password. So I'm going to type here password1. Why? Because of course you'll be asked to change it in a few minutes. So that's the second minimum thing that you need to allocate. And thirdly, you need to go to your list of profiles and add a few profiles. The first one you can add is by simply going to the profile window and typing SAP_all and pressing return. This will essentially give you all SAP system authentications. And then we need another one called SAP_new, and I'll click on enter, and this will give us any new authorization checks. Basically, this will create as a copy, essentially a copy of that BP-inst user. It won't have necessarily all the same rights, but this will give us enough roles and rights to do what we want to do in this series of videos. So that's it. They're the minimum things you need to give. So I'm then going to click on save. And that user has been created. So of course, now to test, we're not going to use that BP-inst user anymore. So you can click on the orange log off button at the top to go to the top. Again, this connection will already have been created. I'm going to log on. And then all I need to do is log in as that user, again remembering to log in as the user 100. So I'm going to log in as SHA. I'll enter my password. And then I'll be required to re-enter my password, so I'll enter it now. I'll enter a new password now. There we go. And I'll click on OK. And I'll click on OK, and now we've logged in as that user. So to summarize, in this video we looked at how you can instantiate your own SAP S/4HANA system, and then we looked at how to create a specific user to carry out the exercises coming up in the next few videos. In the next video in the series, what we're going to do is look at the SAP HANA Studio and how to create yourself a connection to your S/4HANA system, as well as how to load some demo data.